welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're excited to be with you. You excited, babe?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We're going to talk about attachment styles. I think we're actually going to do this in several episodes. And so I'm excited to kind of dive.
Coming back.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive into this because we're learning right along with you. Like, we're not experts, but we definitely see this play out and have had several conversations regarding this in coaching. And you can.
I think you've had more than me.
Yes.
Because you're the one that brought this topic.
Yes.
I had never known about it before this. Not before today.
Okay.
But before you brought it to me.
In general, I just feel like these are things that are inside thoughts that we just
I have
don't.
not talked about these during coaching. I might. I don't know.
Actually, this has come up in couples coaching before, but it was probably when it was probably past the bluff. Yeah, I'm bringing this up because speaking of just hearing something today, I don't even, my husband is talking to me about his work emails.
Emails in general.
Emails in general.
If you're going to send an email that's longer than 3 sentences, all right? Like if there's a paragraph.
Any email is longer than 3 sentences.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just saying, when you have a long email, like from whatever organization you're part of or your kid's a part of, whatever it is, schools, if you're listening, like do this, okay? You just send out a long email with all the little details. Phenomenal. Fantastic. We need that. At the very top, type in all caps, BLUF, and then give me a sentence of what, like a synopsis, like the most, like I need the bottom line up front of what this email is.
I was going to say, what does BLUF stand for? Bottom line up front.
I might not have the time at that moment to find out what's going on. I just give me the bottom line.
So when he told me this, first of all, he said, give me the bluff. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm BLUFF. So I'm like, what the heck? Like, like bluff. That's like deception. Like, what are you talking about? And then anyways, he's like, no, bluff, bottom line up front. To which I am like, you wish I gave you this. You wish that every conversation I would just be like, here's the bluff. Here's the bluff. And now, like, and then you could check out for the rest of the conversation while I gave the details.
No, I didn't.
And then you confessed.
I didn't talk like that.
You confessed that sometimes you feel that way.
Yes, there's sometimes I do. But I'm a guy. I'm not.
This is what's funny.
My brain works different than yours. Like we know this.
Yeah, 100% we do. This is the funny thing is I can tell when you would rather have the bluff, and it's very annoying. Okay, because
I try not to. I try
your
to stay
eyes
engaged.
start to do like a thing, and I can tell when you're like when you want to say skip the commercial. It's like I am preoccupied in my brain with a lot of different things, and you're giving me what I feel are unnecessary details. Also, side note, Brad told me yesterday that I didn't have to feel sad about something. Just so you know.
I was trying to make you feel better.
It just makes me chuckle so much.
She got super offended when I said that, and I was like, I'm sorry. You don't need to feel sad. You don't need it.
It's just because this is carrying on from the previous conversation that we had where you were like, oh, no need to be frustrated. That's an unnecessary emotion. And here you go. And now same thing with this. I was like, oh, I'm sad I missed this. It's like, well, it wasn't your fault we missed it. So sadness eradicated.
That's exactly. I talk like some 1950s superhero.
That's what I hear.
When I show up.
It's like, well, I still feel the sadness, babe, that I missed this thing. So this gets us to attachment styles.
Yeah. Yep.
Men and women are very different, but also how we navigate in relationships is really different. And so I always find it cool to just kind of that aspect of self-reflection about who you are and how you show up by nature. You know, as like, okay, this has been developed really in your life from your earliest childhood experiences, this attachment style can be developed in you. And not to say that that's an excuse for continuing that attachment style if it's not effective in your life, right? But it's definitely, I think, self-reflection. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not self-reflection.
For what? Like, I mean, you should be self-aware
yes,
all the time.
Self-aware. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Brad.
I thought you said that just a second
No,
ago.
I said self-reflection. That's why I was saying I was looking for another word.
I'm going to replay that. I could have swore.
Where's the play?
I heard you say self-awareness. I was like, yeah, you got to be self-aware.
Somebody's rewinding right now to find out whether or not.
Or just playing back because no tapes anymore.
Is that not rewinding?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's playback now.
Okay.
I think it is. I don't know.
We're gonna be pushing on each other today. That's what I've decided. Okay,
all right.
Down. Calm down.
I'm down.
It's because we talked about in church.
We're going over Song of Solomon.
We're going through Song of Solomon. So Brad's like,
it's a great series. That is good.
It's great.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a whole synopsis after the series is over.
I know.
And our pastor JT recently showed us a AI generated synopsis of a series that was sent to him. So now we can actually do one that's not AI generated.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That was kind of crazy, actually.
It was freaky.
Yeah. AI, guys, is pretty awesome and pretty scary all at once. So we're going to just do this where we kind of explain very briefly what these 4 styles are, and then we're going to dive into them individually. So the 4 styles, just to give, we're not going to go through the details. I'm just going to give you the four styles. Is secure. If you can't figure this out just by what the title is, this is the one that we all want to have, is the secure attachment style. Then there's avoidant. Then there's the anxious, and there's the fearful avoidant. These are the 4. So today we're going to dive into the anxious more than anything else.
Secure for
yeah, Brad's like, we're not going over secure.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Again, that's how I feel when you do that in my head, I have like one leg up on something, like a table with my hands on my hips. That's what I picture when you say things like that. I don't do any of that.
I'm going to picture
I don't do any of that. None of that happens ever.
Please start doing that. That'll make me so amused. Just put on the table.
We're not doing that.
Hands on the hips.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't do that, guys. But still, whenever I have that voice for him, I'm amused in my head about it. So we want to just go over what it is that each of the attachment styles are. Well, first of all, what attachment style do you think you are?
I do have an answer for this.
Okay. Did you already contemplate?
Very quickly. I think I think I'm a cocktail of all of these.
Of all of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Counselors out there, therapists, get your pen and paper out. They're like,
it's like me needing
how do I get a hold of this guy? I want to talk to him.
Me having all 5 love languages. Yeah. I'm like, yes, I need all of them. You're like, I'm all 4 of these. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think I am.
But don't you think that, we're going to go over them, what they mean, but don't you think that they do change depending on what relationship that you are in, right? Whether it's friendship or romantic or
I think it
parental.
Changes on the situation and the relationship.
So are you going to explain what secure is?
Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just that you are secure. Like you're comfortable, right? You're a comfortable person. You are secure in who you are.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
the core belief here is that I am worthy of love and others are generally trustworthy. I have that probably too much. we just talked
You're
about.
super secure in yourself.
No, just no. Where I feel like others are generally trustworthy, almost to
Yeah, and I think
fault.
this is a both, not a one or the other.
Okay.
What?
Gotcha.
Well, no, I mean, I think there are people that's not an attachment style. It's just I feel there are people that just believe that everyone is trustworthy.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are exact opposite. So I don't think that's an attachment. I mean, I think that falls under secure attachment, of course, right? It says it, but I don't think it's,
necessarily completely relevant.
I mean, but secure covers anything you would ideally want as yourself, like a virtue or characteristic, or it falls under the secure attachment. Because I think everyone has attachment styles.
Right.
And
also leanings towards other ones. And I think that's when we're talking about this, you can kind of recognize where you know you need to go or want to go, and also where you naturally lean depending on the situation or people that you're around.
I think where you want to go is secure.
Yes. This should be the ultimate goal. And the cool thing about it is I feel the more invested you are in your relationship with Christ, the more you can lean absolutely towards security because of who you serve. But we're not talking about security today. So Brad was already giving me the look like, can we get to the bluff here?
I just didn't know how far down we're going with security.
No, just the core belief. And we'll get into more of what each of these is when we go over them. Then we have the avoidant, more of a dismissive attachment. Core belief, I can only rely on myself is the core belief with the avoidant. Fearful avoidant, core belief, I want closeness, but I don't trust it, which I think is really interesting. And then we have the anxious, which we're going to go into more details about today. I might not be enough, or I could be abandoned, would be the core belief for the anxious attachment. So there's a strong desire for closeness, high sensitivity to rejection with this particular attachment style, frequent reassurance, and can feel needy or emotionally intense. I mean, I feel like, there are times definitely
I was going to say,
all
you
of
just,
us
I thought you were going to dime me out specifically.
No,
I feel like
wasn't.
you look at that and you're like, oh yeah.
I've been here myself too. I mean, especially walking through what we've walked through. I think it pulled me towards this.
Yeah.
For sure, of just feeling that need frequent reassurance and high sensitivity to rejection. Yeah, I definitely stayed in this place for a
I wonder
while.
if there's like a mild anxious attachment.
Is that what you feel like?
Because I don't feel like I have a high sensitivity, to rejection.
I think this plays out depending on who you are in different ways. Where you're like the reassurance thing is what you're seeing that, okay, I see this in myself, right?
Okay.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I guess. I don't. I mean.
Okay, yes, I guess I do need that. And the need reassurance.
Yeah. I mean,
you're a words of affirmation guy, right? Like the aspect of, okay, those insecurities, to combat those insecurities, there's a level of assurance.
I think I have a sprinkle of anxious attachment in me. Okay, because I'm really thinking about this.
Let's make a picture of Brad and put the layers on. So the sprinkle is anxious attachment.
I think so.
Okay.
Because I don't feel that I could be abandoned.
Okay.
I'm maybe in some, okay, when I say relationships, I mean friendships and all that too. So maybe in some friendships I could be abandoned, but I'm not very concerned about it.
Okay.
I guess, but I definitely, and we've talked about my insecurities. I might not be enough, 100% like me, right? I don't necessarily have a strong desire for closeness. Is that Closeness. Yeah, that's what it says, right? That's what one of your notes is. I don't do you understand what I mean? Like,
I don't desire to be close to you.
No. It says, I'm not talking about you specifically,
Yes,
but also like just this general strong desire of closeness. Like I feel weird if someone stands too close to me when I'm talking to them.
I don't feel like it's talking about physical closeness.
Okay.
I think it's talking about closeness in like your relationship.
I don't. Only some relationships do I want that. Others I don't.
Just a sprinkle.
That's what I'm saying. I think the more I dig into this, I feel like there's only certain times or there's only certain people that I will overthink texts, tone.
Yes, I agree with you.
Behavior.
I think you are a sprinkle of this.
Like I can only count them maybe on one hand. There's only certain people that because of past experiences, because of everything, that 100% one text, one comment
or lack thereof,
or one comment or lack thereof, or whatever, some kind of behavior that any other person did, it'd be like
you wouldn't even think anything of it.
No,
right?
Like there's nothing behind that. There's that's just what it is. But no, like these other relationships that I have, like those handful, absolutely. You send me a text, like it could be 3 words, and I'm like, great. Oh man, yep. And I go down this trail of like.
But that's why these are so interesting to look at, is because of how much your attachment style is impacted by how you grew up, by the situations that you've been in, by whether or not your security as a child, right? It all bleeds in. Not that we're ever blaming anything. I'm just saying, like, this is how these attachment styles develop. And then I think even for me, us going through that crisis in our marriage definitely leaned me more into that anxious attachment style, which I think does bleed out into looking even like control. It's like, okay, that, we've talked about that before. Anxiety, fear, control, they kind of like go together. But like fear's abandonment, may overanalyze tone or silence. I feel like that's something that, not that I sit in it, but I definitely am always reading tone and reading like facial expressions and, and to the point where it can be over analytical for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, there's times I've sat there, or kind of like you're saying, to me, what you don't say speaks louder than what is said. Oftentimes, like it's kind of like when you're looking for something. Trying to give a great example. I'll give like a work example. So if we're out looking at a certain area and we're getting the electronic footprint that's in that area, and we're trying to figure things out and all those stuff, and you're going to see like a baseline of that, right? But when things are too clean, that speaks louder than when there's little spikes here and there, whatever. When it's like, when everything's too silent, then it's like, no, there's definitely something going on. You see, or just in everything, right? If you're looking for something specific and you're getting a baseline, you kind of see this little, something's off here, something's off there, but nothing really crazy. But then all of a sudden there's nothing. Like, to me, that speaks louder for me, if that makes sense. And so, I look into that like a lot more than just normal tone, because I will be self-aware. I try to do that in everything I do, in every aspect of my life, work, home, wherever I'm at. I want to be self-aware to where I always this is because of experience. This is not because of like I'm a great human being or whatever. But I always want to look at myself first. If something takes me off guard, if I'm like, what in the world, why are they acting like, whatever it is, or that offended me or whatever. Like, I always want to look at myself first, because I want to check me, right? Is it a me problem, or is this a real problem? Right. So I think that, I sit on that. Like that's.
Yeah. But I don't think that's necessarily makes that anxious attachment. Like, I feel like that's just more analytical for you. Like, I don't think that you kind of go in where, where I would, I mean, I feel like every woman does this in a marriage where it's like, what's wrong? And the dude's like, nothing. And we're like, but it seems like something's wrong because you've been too quiet, or you said something, or you said something where, like, I know for me, I'm very sensitive to your tone. And so when, especially if you've been at work for a long period of time, I feel like your tone, like you got your foot on the table and your hands on your hip, even if it's not there, right? To stay with the same analogy. But if I feel like your tone is too sharp, I tend to overcompensate, where I would go towards like, I got to try to make everything okay, or something's wrong, or I don't know, there must be like high level of stress, or feel like I did something, even when a lot of times that's not the case. So,
you did this to me the other day.
Oh, thank you, Brad. His finger points at me. Yeah, you did this. That was an anxious avoidant.
No, it's not anxious avoidance.
No, we're getting that one later. Anxious.
But you were busy doing something when I came home. I was hurrying. I can't remember what we even had going on, but I was like, came home, but put my stuff in the kitchen, went to the bedroom, did that, came back out for something. Then, and I said hi to you. Like, I didn't ignore you, and it was just like,
I think this was leaving to go to work.
No, no, this is exact opposite. Right?
Okay. And, no, your thoughts are wrong, woman.
Yeah. And like, I went and showered, and I got changed, and I came out, and you were like, what's wrong? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong. Yeah. Like, I don't even know where that came from. Like, what?
Yeah, I can just see this now. You're like, that's your anxious attachment style.
Yeah, your anxious attachment style.
You should definitely, you should be secure.
It's not a good look on you. Okay. There's no reason for you to be anxious.
Side note, for those of you listening right now, I didn't even think of this as being something that I did. So as we're going through everything, I see myself in this anxious attachment style more than I'd like as a spouse. If you see this, do not go up and tell them.
This is super interesting, because I said I feel like I'm a cocktail of all these. Yeah. As we dive into anxious, though, I feel like I have less and less of sprinkle even. And I feel like it's on you more.
I feel like I'm more perfect in this area. And so you take the sprinkle.
I lean towards secure.
Okay.
No, because I'm looking at this and I don't hit all these markers.
No, and but I don't
clean or pursue or over communicate during conflict.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about all of these, not just so what is the other thing?
What?
What is the other thing you just said? I don't do this or this. Okay.
No, I don't over communicate. Like, one of the I didn't have 3 dots after that. I was trying to finish my sentence before you laughed.
Because you're like, I don't even have a sprinkle of this, but definitely I see things in you. No. I want to know in the notes where you're seeing over communicate for anxious. Where are we seeing that? Because that's not in my.
Back on track.
That's not in my notes.
It is absolutely in your notes. Okay, because these. So, one of the like factors that you can have, or let's say markers. One of the markers you could have if you have this anxious or preoccupied, attachment, right? In relationships, we already talked about fear of abandonment, right? And of course, but then the other thing is like you tend to clean, pursue, or over communicate during conflict. I clearly don't over communicate during conflict.
Like how you're
That's
like,
what I'm
you're welcome.
saying.
I bluff that conflict every time. You're sad. You don't need to be sad. You're welcome.
Moving on. Enjoy yourself.
Your emotion is irrelevant.
No, I mean, so like think about any kind of conflict that you're involved in. Do you pursue? And I would guess like pursue the person, right? I would think you're not pursuing the conflict.
Yeah.
Right. You're
Right.
pursuing the person, so are you overly like, I don't even know how to explain that. Like, are you over? Oh yeah. Because it would be anxious. Like if there was some kind of conflict, like some weight in the air, right? Mm-hmm. You're married. You all know the weight in the air, right? Like, but no one's saying a word, but it's just there. I don't know
what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's just there. Do you pursue your person more during that time to try to make everything's cool,
Mm-hmm.
Or do you over communicate?
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if I just keep talking,
keep asking what's wrong 75 times and then
or talking or whatever, right? So, I mean, I think that I would say in conflict, and we have conflict, I just talk it out with you. I don't overly communicate or get like pursuey, right? I'm asking.
Here's the thing.
Or am I off? Am I not understanding what this is?
I'm not saying that at all. Even though I still don't know where you're at in the notes. But I think that in reality, a lot of times there's two things happening in conflict and obviously there's two things happening, but two different styles that are coming into play. And I even think as we go through the rest of the styles, how you can see in different situations, how we all react a little bit different. Because I don't think probably in situations of conflict, I have a tendency to then go to almost that fearful avoidance side of things where I'm like, I don't want to actually talk about it. It takes a lot for me to communicate. So I don't think
and that's bad because sometimes I'm like, well, I'm just going to shove this down.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're like, we're not doing this. So I'm going to avoid this. And I'm like, perfect. I'm going to shove this down.
Perfect.
And that's not good. That's not healthy.
Thank you, Brad. This is why we have the marriage podcast, guys. You could come along on the journey. It's not good to be fearful, avoidant, or shove things down. No. You need to talk it out. Yeah. But I do think that's when you get more into that secure side of things, because I think what happens and the reason why technically I would avoid something is because of this anxious attachment style that is like, I don't want rejection, or I want to, not deal with this kind of stuff. It makes me worried. And so I would just rather not deal with it. So you can have like these things with this attachment style where you can have a leanings towards various ones in various situations. And that's where I definitely know in conflict.
I mean, I read somewhere on these, because I was reading up on this.
Yes.
Thank you. You didn't even say that's good. I just said thank you. Yeah. I just need reassurance. Yes. I fall somewhere in there.
That's the sprinkle.
Yep, that's the sprinkle. No, that a lot of these are more spectrum than something very specific.
Like, this is what I am.
I mean, I think that I've met people 100% that fall deep into every one of these. Well, not the one person, but like multiple, right. They like, yes, they are anxious. Yes, they are fearful, right? They are, I don't even know the other ones.
Secure.
Yeah. Look how secure they are.
Look how secure
look
they
at them. Watch them just avoid everything, but if you look at it as a spectrum, then I do feel that I can fall into the anxious category with certain relationships. Absolutely. Of course. I don't think that it falls in my marriage.
Yeah.
For me.
I don't think that it does.
Because so each one of these attachments, we're going to talk about 3 areas that it falls into. And one of them is going to be kind of an area that I don't think we've really dove into I think we've kind of hit it in different things that we've talked about, but it'll be marriage, parenting, and leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think the leadership thing is so interesting to me, one, right, as a man, as a disciple of Jesus, and you're a man and you're married, like you are called to lead your family, right? But then more than that, like you're a leader. My kids, they're leaders. Like I equate it a lot to what I do at work. We want everyone to be a leader, right? There's a hierarchy, of course, right? And you got your TLs, you got these, but every one guy needs to be a leader in his own right, because I don't want robots. Like, how boring would that be if my family was, other than me, was a bunch of robots,
right?
Like just waiting for me to tell them, okay,
put your foot
go
on the
eat
table.
breakfast, okay, go do this. Like, okay, like that's dumb, right? If you want to, parenting, if you want to bring up your child and have them be successful in it as an adult, like you have to build them up as a leader, as a thinker. They have to be like, it doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl, like this is how they have to be built up. So everyone falls into the leadership category. It's not just a male, subject, but yeah, we're going to go over the anxiousness, how it affects in marriage, like what it looks like in marriage, in parenting and leadership.
So in marriage, if you have an anxious attachment style, we already talked a little bit about this, the needing reassurance frequently. Here's your sprinkle. Yeah. But also, like, I think everybody does have that somewhat in their marriage, as far as we should be reassuring to our spouse. But I think the anxious side starts to go into a toxic side. Yeah.
Well, how frequently do you need it?
Right. Or are you okay if that's not being filled all the time? Like that.
So it goes on to frequency still, because I don't feel like I need daily reassurance that, whatever, right? I don't need it. It's nice to get it every now and then, but I don't have like a timetable of, man, she has not said anything. Like, what am I even doing? Like, I don't do that.
No, it's in your eyes. No, but I do think this is obviously going towards where things become not good, and like having that where it's like a necessity in the relationship for you to be okay. Right. And it's like, it's not bad to want reassurance from your spouse, but it's that aspect of like, I'm not okay if I don't have this. Like, I'm worried now that we're not okay. I'm worried that if you didn't say these things, that we're not going to make it. And I think that's where the anxious style comes in even more so, where like, okay, yeah, having reassurance from your spouse is a good thing, but if you didn't get it, are you still like, oh, okay, but I realize like it's just been a busy day or week, or there's just a lot of things going on,
And we see this when we coach couples, especially in the infidelity range.
Right.
Like, this is 100%. I think that's probably why, not now.
Yeah, but I have
you've leaned towards this heavy, because yes, there was a time where, man, I needed to reassure you, but it was also a time for healing, so because to me, anxious attachment is a negative thing. Yeah. But then there's this time frame where, of course, you have anxious attachment.
Right. Well, because of circumstances, I had experienced a really like a traumatic event, right? And in doing that, then my brain shifts, right? Like, I see the world different. I see relationships different. And it's not that can't be healed. It's not that you can't overcome that stuff. But I think definitely, depending on what you've gone through, we are almost forced into some of these attachment styles, at least even for seasons. Yeah. And I know very much so, especially when dealing with crisis, you really see this. And I think when it becomes dangerous is when you then adopt that as, this is who I am, right? Like, not just a season that you're going through, but like now this becomes like, okay, I never stop being anxious about the relationship. And that's not what God has for us.
Yeah. I guess in that sense, I could see where it's not, I mean, I still think it's a negative attachment.
Yeah, because you can't stay here and be healthy.
But even having it, like, it's not good, period, to have it. Now, it could be someone else's fault that it's not good. I mean, all the attachments, even secure, they, as in who, doctors, whoever, I can't give you a name. I hate saying they. But in fact, you know what? I'm going to give you a name. Hold on.
And also, we have not gone into all of the belief systems of the people who've developed.
No,
these
absolutely
theories,
not.
so.
But I think that they're good.
Yeah.
Good subjects. But 100%. This, if you were reading this is not. There's no Christian view inside this, right? We're
going to bring that out, but
absolutely, because they're true, but there's no Christian view inside this. But it says that the theory, John Bowlby, that's the guy's name, smart dude. But I forgot what I was going to say with that. There's my ADHD. So,
it's like I got distracted by the name.
I did. I 100% did.
You said that it's not, you feel like it's probably always a negative.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't stay there. And then
you shouldn't stay there. I think that there's times where that's going to happen, but the goal for every attachment, other than the secure one, the goal for every attachment, I would say, is to get out of it. Right? To get to the
secure.
Because and we haven't gone into secure, but I see all these as the one thing it's lacking even to do is run to God.
Right.
Right. And so, like, if my relationship in Christ is secure, all of a sudden everything else is secure.
Yeah. And almost like bonus. I think where it's like, well, my security, my reassurance has to come from who Christ is. And so my spouse giving me reassurance is a bonus to that, right? But it's not where I'm not okay if I don't have that.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. There's seasons where I think that you're in those positions out of circumstances, and you're going to walk through that.
Or even if you don't think you're doing this in your marriage, what happens when there's a conflict, right? So and conflict can be a small thing. It can be a big thing. Like, so conflict doesn't necessarily mean this huge argument, but there's conflict, right? So in the anxious world of conflict, that person wants to escalate that conflict very quickly. Because
they're anxious about it.
Yep.
So even if it's not that big of a deal, it feels like a very big deal.
And from the study, it's saying that they want to do that because they're feeling disconnected. And so it's interesting to me, because instead of a healthy way of reconnection, it's like, man, no, you know what? We're going to fight this out. Like, I'm going to escalate this conflict. Like, we're going to go at it.
Because here's the problem. This is why we feel disconnected.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't even know if it's that. It's just that that person feels disconnected. So it's like, okay, the way that I'm going to attack feeling disconnected is we're going to start arguing. It's
almost like that saying, even with kids or whatever, where they'll take any kind of attention, even if it's negative attention, right? You see that play out in kids where it's like, okay, well, I can't get your attention this way.
You know what I was going to say when I gave that guy's name? I was going to say that they said that all these stem from childhood, right? I'm 48, right?
47.
I'm 47. So I'm 47 years old. Like, I'm not blaming anything on my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a grown man. At some point, like, you got to take your own, responsibility, right? I've been out of the house longer than I've been in the house, under my parents' roof. So I don't blame my parents for any of this. I can see where people say that, right? But also, your experiences past that build these things too.
Yeah.
Right? And so
it's like you can start off with one thing depending on how you were raised. Because I do think it's very formative as to how you're raised, right?
Absolutely. But for sure,
you can definitely pivot.
If you read like some of these attachments, it says like, it says caregiver, which, come on, you could definitely know this isn't written by faith-based.
Well, a caregiver could be a grandparent. Like, what if your grandparent was in, or if you were being a foster or adopted or anything like that. All right.
I stand corrected.
Caveat.
I stand corrected. Anyway, it says that they weren't present.
Right.
Or infrequently present.
Yeah. And for me, like my parents were very present. My childhood was very secure.
Yeah.
But I definitely, because of what we experienced, can see the leaning, especially a specific season where I really walked through this.
Yeah.
But I do see even that bleed through of walking through that season still playing out in some of the areas where I naturally would go towards now.
I think you did the other day, because it's like an anxious spouse may think, are we okay? Why are we quiet?
Yeah.
And it was like, I was just getting things done.
Yeah.
Because
it's always, and it's not really, I think even for me now where I'm just like, oh, we're not like, he's going to leave me. Right.
No,
it's not that.
I hope not.
It's just like, are we okay? Kind of like, is everything okay? And I can see that kind of play out in towards the toxic side of it, where there's no reason for me to feel that way other than, hurry, like you're in a hurry or busy or tired or, hungry. Right. All the things that kind of contribute to how we operate in our lives, whether our tone and.
I think it's interesting when you get into parenting with this, because if you go down their list, some of it sounds like you're just an involved parent.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that there's a line that, well, we'll talk about it. Right. So one of the things that says that the parent in parenting this anxious style is highly involved, but sometimes overly involved. Right. So I remember people in my high school that their parents were like this. Where I was like, they were always around. I never thought of anything like this back then, but now being a parent, meeting other parents, like, this growth or whatever, you're seeing like these people are, maybe their marriage, they don't have this. And I think that's a key thing too, right? So we're talking about marriage, and you could be listening, you're like, I'm definitely not anxious in my marriage. But then you get to parenting, it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Man, there's nothing that brings out anxiety more naturally than parenting.
Absolutely. And I think that there's this, that's where the parents get anxious. I know plenty of parents that once you start talking about kids and like activities and things they're doing, you could tell that they're anxious in the sense of like, they're always needing to be in it, if that makes sense. And I don't think it's healthy. I think that there's a line. There is a healthy line. Yeah,
you need to be involved, but not overly.
Absolutely. Man, I couldn't imagine. Like, I know, like our youngest, he probably would not like us being overly involved. But that also is built with trust, right? So, of course, if your kid is like a wild child, well, then you might have to be a little bit overly involved in their stuff because there's a lack of trust.
Yeah, and right? I can look at our own parenting, and see times where I wish we would have been more involved, and times when I recognize it would have been better if we had been less, you know? And,
no, for sure.
And I think always assessing that, I think when you have that anxious style, attachment style, right, it can be so toxic so quickly because it's like almost vicariously you're living through your kids, and you start living through every worst case scenario with your kids, right? It's like, oh no, like this could happen, or you could do this, or da da da. And it's just like, and so you feel like if you place yourself there, you place yourself, I think almost as like protection is what you would think it would be. But in reality,
you're controlling through anxiousness.
Right. Yeah. Right? And also we can't control someone else's behavior and or consequences and or a myriad of other things. And so we end up just elevating our anxiety about it because things don't go the way we want them to go.
Yeah. I mean, as it describes it, it's really, it talks about blurring boundaries out of fear. Right? It's just what we were talking about. Right. Like, why are you so involved? Well, there's a fear aspect to it. You're anxious.
Yeah.
What could happen to them? Are they being made fun of? Whatever. And I would say that this 100% stems from your experience growing up, right? Like, what was your experience in high school? I'm not asking that because it's a rhetorical question.
Thank you.
I didn't know if you were going to start answering. Like, what was your experience in high school? What was your experience, in different activities you had growing up? What was your experience in youth group? Like what?
I don't feel like the same way about that. Because I think there's something about becoming a parent that makes you just see the world so differently, right? That things that you didn't even think about for yourselves as being worried or anxious about when you went through them, because that's just the lens you're going through at the time. I think when you become a parent, it's like, it's easy to just start going like, oh no, I know what could happen if you did that. I know if you go that direction, it could be this, and I just think part of that is your own experiences for sure. But I think it's just like we mentioned with marriage, that certain situations bring this out in us. And I think parenting definitely pulls this out. I disagree.
No, I agree, but not like, I'm not 100% on board with that.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree.
I didn't disagree with you. I'm not 100% on board with that, because I think that, so for me, for example, right, like my insecurities would show up as anxiousness with the kids, right? Because my experiences, my things had nothing to do with the kids. When the kids were little, right, what was one of the things we did was, yes, now you're a parent. Like, you don't want them to stick your finger in a socket. You don't want them to do these things, of course, right? You're protecting your kid. But what was our big thing? It was like, we never overreacted when they fell or bumped their head or whatever it was. We never overreacted. We did that on purpose because we saw other kids with their parents, and then they would like freak out. Like, not their parents, the kids would freak out because the parent is like running over there, and all they did was just trip on, the concrete or whatever. Of course, I don't want my kid to get hurt, but inevitably there's going to be some bump, scrape, and bruise. And if it's not that bad, then it doesn't have to be that bad, right? Like, I don't have to react. And we did that with our kids. And we saw that our kids if they were hurt, they were hurt, right? If there was a bump, a bruise, or whatever, they got a little shook up, they were fine. They kind of just like sat there for a minute and like got up and started going. So, but with my like insecurities, I would definitely I would lean on that anxiousness for them. Yeah. Right? Like, okay, I mean, I don't even know.
Fear of heights.
Yeah. That one, that's not an insecurity, but I would.
No, but fear.
Try to remove myself from saying anything. So I would get anxious, but I definitely didn't put that on them. But I mean, like, I'm just trying to think. Like, I always wanted to make sure that my kids were like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, I didn't want my kids to, I'm seriously trying to figure out how to explain this. Like, look bad, right? Like not maliciously bad, but like look bad, right? Like, their kids are going to be disheveled, but I mean, like, as they were growing up, it's like, like, dress this way, you have to present yourself this way. You have to do these things this way. Like, the way you're eating, like, dude, you should be eating this way, And I had to deal with that. I was you helped me, but I was very, very careful on what I would say, because I inherently knew that I was pushing my own things on them that didn't need to be pushed on them. Well, first of all, they have manners. Like, that is very important, right? I don't want my kids running around like eating with their hands when they're not supposed to, and just like mouth open and just being gross. Like, that's dumb, right? So, like, yes, we instilled manners in them. Like, these are the way that you should do things, because that's just nice, right? Yeah. Like,
because we want you to be an adult. Other people want to be around one day.
Exactly. But that's not what I'm talking about. So I'm just talking about other things like that,
or like the perfection is really.
Yeah. And that's really where I was coming from, where I know I'm not perfect, and I had to fight that, or have to fight that. Not that I'm trying to be perfect, but it's this thing in me, right? It's just an insecurity. wherever I got it. Doesn't matter. It's just an insecurity, right? And I didn't want to put that on my kids. But I know there was times where, I mean, kids know. Like I was definitely anxious around them. I was definitely like pushing things on them. And there was 100% times that I've said things that I wish I never would have said. You know, not cussing at them or anything like that, just, or degrading them, just things that didn't need to be brought up, you know? And we've talked about it before. I'm quick to apologize. I mean, I learned that, but I had to be, because I want my sons, I want my daughter to call me and be safe with me and all those things. And so I need them to know, like, man, I messed up. I shouldn't have put that on you. That's something I deal with. It's not something you even need to have on your radar. Right. And so that's why I think that in parenting, the anxious style is like, man, we
have to be super careful.
So careful. Like I just think about, like, even with our grandchild, and I'm like, man, I would not want to do anything that just tanks them, you know, like that just wrecks them.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether you see it or not, like, cause you know, your kid might not show it to you, but when they leave, go into their room and all of a sudden that's all they're thinking about. And it's like, man, I just wrecked that kid.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like, you want to shape, not crush someone when it comes to their spirit. But I think we don't often think of that anxious attachment style as crushing a spirit, but it really can.
Absolutely.
Because when we're playing out of our own fears and our own insecurities, and then we begin to really force that lens on our kids, because that's what we're playing out of. And especially in parenting, when your kids get into the teenage years, someone who has an anxious attachment style has a tendency to struggle with letting go process. Yeah. I mean, I think that is a struggle no matter what.
It is. But right now I'm like, kid, get a license. Like, well, he's not old enough to get one yet, but I'm like, do your thing. So when you're old enough, you get a license.
I also feel that this is so different depending on which kid it is.
Yeah.
I know that this played out very differently. I think kind of organically with each of our kids, that process of letting them, in this weird way to say, but almost having the capacity to fail, right? Where you aren't the helicopter parent who's like stepping in front of everything, right? Now they have to begin to become the people they are called to be, right? When it, you know, developing their own faith, developing their own character, learning what their genuine opinions are, right? About the world and life. And you want to be there for all of that, but you have to also let them be forming it. And I think for each of our kids, that's where I realized sometimes we needed to step in more, and sometimes we needed to let that develop on its own.
No, absolutely. So leadership.
Yeah. Okay. Leadership. Go.
We'll finish with leadership. And I mean, clearly the anxious attachment is not good. You know, even in a season, it's not good. It's something that you should always get out of. And you can't get out of it unless you chase after God. Like it's really what this comes down to. You know, we haven't really hit on, you know, biblical faith or Christian views on this, but that's exactly what it is. It's like in parenting, how can I be the best parent that I can be? I put him first, and I read the Bible, I get in it, and I understand what I need to be as a father. And then with that security, I'm allowed to let them step out and potentially fail on something and be able to be there to guide them. Hopefully guide them before that, but also let them out so they can do those things. So in leadership, it says, like, you know, and again, some of these bullet points are like, well, that would be good. Right. Highly relational. Like, that sounds great. Right. Seeks approval. Now you're getting into these places that, like,
right. You're highly relational, but in that highly relational aspect, you need to have approval from those relationships in order to feel like you're doing the job well.
Takes criticism personally, micromanage to reduce anxiety. It says in here, which I don't like, so I'll just say it. So whoever wrote this, whoever did all this research, clearly, I don't like this one. but it says that the strength is a deep care for people, right? But I think the strength that all the other weaknesses weigh out that strength, because like I have a deep care for people. I don't have anxiety attachment or anxious attachment, right? But I have a secure relationship with Christ. And so because of that, because of all the things I put first, then just by proxy, right? I start having empathy for people. I start having sympathy for people. I start trying to understand people more. I care deeper for people because I'm looking at it on an eternal level, not on a level here of like that dude offended me because he doesn't believe what I believe, you know?
I see what they're saying with this is, you know, your desire for the relation, like when you're highly relational and you want a good marriage and you want to be a good parent and you want to be a good leader, that desire is there, but played out in hand with anxiety, it ends up that really beautiful thing that God placed in you, that's a strength that you desire, a great marriage, and you desire to be a great parent and to be a great leader, bleeds out into the negative because instead of entrusting God with those relationships and standing in that security, we take it on ourselves. Like that high regard for people, we place ourselves in a position that Jesus is meant to fill. Yeah. And so I can see it as being like, the reason why I'm anxious about these things is because I care about them so much, right? Like if I didn't care, I wouldn't be anxious. And I think that's how it bleeds into the negative.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that like the seeking approval, I for sure fall into that 100%, but I'm always reminded of Galatians 1:10, and Paul's like, obviously I'm not here to seek approval of people. Yeah. Right. I'm here.
You take the lie, you replace it with the truth. Yeah. Is what you're doing.
No, absolutely. But on every level, on certain levels, you do seek approval. I found myself doing this when I first started speaking, right? I was always asking like, hey, how did that go? How was that? How, because I was seeking approval from people. Like, oh, you did a great job or whatever. Now, if you change that perspective, what I seek now from certain people, very, very limited amount of people on this list, right? It's a very, very short list. I'm not seeking approval. I'm seeking criticism, right? So that I could become a better speaker, present the gospel better, be a better communicator, those things that I'm not looking at this person as like, hey, tell me I did good. I need your approval to validate what I did on stage or wherever, right? Yeah. I don't want that. I'm looking for you to tell me how can I be better at what I just did, not in a negative way, but it's also something that's bred in me even at work, right? Like we're trained professionals on what we do. Anytime I step foot in the house, anytime I do anything with work, I need somebody to be critical at what I'm doing so that I know that I'm doing it right. Because in my head, I'm the rock star, right? Quote unquote. But I need someone to show me, like, no, man, like you need to do this, you need to tweak this. Just like I switched from seeking approval to seeking coaching, right? Or looking for coaching, however you want to say it. But like in this list, if you're anxious, you take criticism personally. I have done that in the past.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't do that anymore.
I think that there's areas of your life where you still do.
No.
Okay.
I love you. I love you.
I'm just thinking of some personal relationships.
But I have to speak the truth over me.
Correct.
Right. Which is,
I'm not saying you stay there, but I'm saying I think that there is certain relationships where that criticism, you have to actually fight a battle for sure of just not allowing that to be like, that's not who I am. Yeah. That's not, because I think this goes back to, aspects of our life that we fall naturally into certain areas because of circumstances we've been in. And I think it's easy to do for any of us. I don't think criticism is an easy thing for anyone to handle. And we have to look at it as the perspective of growth right?
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the deal. Like who are you getting criticism from? That's what I'm saying. My list is very, very short. Outside of that, okay, whatever. Like I'm just going to be dismissive about it because I don't know where they're like, do they have love? Is it coming from love? Is it coming from friendship? Is it coming from a relationship that I already have established where that person's not trying to criticize me to say how horrible I am, but they're trying to critique me and to make me a better follower of Jesus, a better, a speaker, whatever it is. Like they're making me better at whatever it is, but not necessarily through, I would say through criticism. It's like critiquing. If you want to look at it a different way, when you really look at it, because you know what? I'm going to coin that. Like criticism is negative and critiquing is positive. And I know that they're like right on, like I'm not an idiot. I know they're, right there on the same level.
Right, but it's kind of your perspective on
absolutely,
what
because
that is.
There are people that can critique me and man, I need it. I don't ever want to walk around like I know everything and I'm the
I think
best
it has
at
a
everything.
completely different connotation.
But if you give me criticism, one, I will fight not to take it personally, but I know what you're saying. There are certain people that absolutely, like the first thing I do is take it personal, but I need to trust in the truth, right? That is what has God said? Where has God placed me? Like we talked about when I had insecurities, I was put at that table, not by man, right? But because of God, right? I was put in those positions. I was sat in that chair. I was in that meeting. I was around those people. Those weren't just happen chance. It wasn't like I was I guess we'll have to let him in. No, it was God's appointing me, on all these tracks. And I fully feel that the more mature I get in my walk with Christ, it's not some like overly spiritual thing where it's like everywhere I go, God's appointed me to go there. Like I can clearly be in places that he doesn't want me to be. But I look back on any situations I've been in that have been like, highly volatile situations. And I'm like, no, God 100% placed me there. Like I'm still here. Right.
Amen.
But
so challenge for the week is to just have a sprinkle like Brad.
Just a little, just a little.
No, I think really all of this, and as we're going through in the next several weeks, that you get a chance to assess kind of how you are in both your marriage and in your parenting and in leadership, because you can show up differently in these areas in different attachment styles, and recognizing when it is leaning in the unhealthy, right? Is that we're going to go towards the secure, right? We want to be secure in how we navigate each of those areas. And so pay attention. I saw myself in several of these things. I know you saw yourself too. And I like how you mentioned that so many of these things are more on a spectrum, right? Where you can see like, man, I'm really leaning that way in this particular situation. And why? Like, why am I leaning that way? And I think what you said several times, indirectly in this episode is like, and what's the truth? Right. And that's ultimately, we always are pushing you guys towards that is you need to have some statements, some scriptures that are God's truth over your life so that you don't lean into like an anxious attachment in your marriage or in your parenting or in your leadership. And that begins to be how you define yourself, where ultimately we need to define ourselves by who we are in Christ.
Yeah.
And so, just assessing yourself. And I think finding that truth really matters. If you didn't see yourself in anxious, just wait. We'll get to you. All right. We'll see you next week.